Today on Alaskan Ballistics, the Smith and Wesson M&P 10mm. Let's take a good look at it. Welcome back to Alaskan Ballistics. My name is Chuck. I hope you are doing well today. Once again, Chuk let me borrow a 10mm. I promise I'm going to let him borrow some guns. I've tried to. He hasn't taken me up on the offer yet. I don't really want him to trade those guns away while he's borrowing them either. Anyway, I'm kidding. He's responsible. But we have a 10mm 4.6-inch barrel Smith and Wesson M&P. So let's see if this is a good bear defense firearm. We're just going to go test fire it. These actually have quite a bad reputation right now, so we're going to see what kind of ammo it does feed, what it doesn't feed. Let's look at all the features of the gun first here. So it looks like you got suppressorized sights, which are pretty nice, so that you can put a suppressor on it or an optic on it. It does not come with a threaded barrel. They do need to make a 5.5-inch or 5-inch threaded barrel version. I think that would be very, very good. The gun is unloaded and clear. You've got ambi slide releases, a reversible magazine release. You have your optics plate mount right there on top. You've got a nice grip. I love these Smith & Wesson grips, and they're easy to change too. Just pull that out and you can put on the different grips. I think Chuk had the smaller grip on here. This is a small one, I'm pretty sure. I really like that. The other thing that people don't realize on a Smith & Wesson, like a Glock, you have to pull the trigger to take it down. But the Smith & Wesson gives you a way around that. You can use this same tool, and there's a little tiny clip right in here. And when you pull it out and make it stick out right there, then you can slide it forward without pulling the trigger, and it will take the gun apart. So it is nice that you can take the gun apart without pulling the trigger. I know you triple check and quadruple check that the gun is safe. It's not a huge advantage over a Glock for somebody who knows guns. But for somebody who's not quite into guns, maybe they're just learning the safety rules, which you shouldn't buy yet if you're just learning the safety rules, but maybe they just went to the gun store, got a gun. It is nice that Smith & Wesson will allow you to take it down without pulling the trigger, which is nice in case somebody doesn't quadruple check. So you just pull the barrel out. I'd say you just pull the barrel out, but it's a little rough. This gun was clean. It had a little bit too much oil on it from Chuk, believe it or not, when we shot it. So I actually did dry some of the oil off before we shot it. So you can see right there, same kind of safety system Glock has, essentially. And firing pin, striker fired. Striker fired. You just put it back together. Real easy to do. You can put that wedge back in there, that little piece, and just slide it on. Make sure you got this back. Flip that up, you're good to go. So I really like this 10mm as far as the feel is concerned. As many of you might remember on the channel early in the days, I did have problems with my 9mm M&P, so I hope this 10mm M&P doesn't have any problems. Now, before we went shooting, Chuk told me this one didn't have any problems, but his buddy was going to bring another one, a 4-inch barrel, that did have problems. So we're going to see, what those problems are, and we're going to compare the two, since they do make this in both the 4 and 4.6-inch models. 15 rounds in the magazine. I think the magazines are partly to blame. The feed lips there aren't very big or long enough to really control the round. I think that's part of the problem, is a bad magazine design. So hopefully this one will run just like Chuk says it does. Here we are, first shot, Smith & Wesson M&P 10mm. See how it goes. I missed the last one. I pulled a Chuk. Alright. Not too bad. Not too bad. Fed all those. That was just blazer brass. Just blazer brass. Here we go. Second magazine. Smith & Wesson M&P 10. Here we go. like that. Oh, look at that. We got a jam on the last round. We have got a jam on the last round. I'd already taken the magazine out thinking it was locked back as the last round. That's not cool. Here we go. Third magazine, Blazer Brass. Rounds, no problem. Nice slow fire. So now we'll be shooting some 6-hour Elite Defense 180 grain. These are jacketed hollow point rounds. I like these rounds. They do tend to jacket separate if they're going fast enough, though. They are a true 10mm load. Let's see right there. True 10mm load. Big jacketed hollow point. We'll see if it'll feed the wide mouth hollow point there. Next, we are feeding Underwood 200 grain hard cast. Supposed to be flat nose 1250. This is a pretty hefty load. I don't usually carry anything heavier than this for bear protection. And most of you guys have seen this on the channel before and all the 10mm test and penetration test. Here we are. It's the lipstick round. So hopefully you guys know about this one. Good hard cast bullet. 10mm Smith and Wesson and SIG 180 grain jacketed hollow points, 5 rounds because I don't want to waste all these. See if they feed. Not as accurate as the other ones, but they fed just fine. You could definitely tell a difference in the recoil over the cheap Blazer Brass stuff. Now I've got 5 rounds of hard cast 200 grain Underwood lipstick rounds. Here we go. And we have a failure to perform. Looks like it just went too high. Like it went too high in the feeding ramp right there. Failure to perform. That ain't cool. All right, we got some Ammo Inc. 10mm here. Muzzle velocity 1190. Not quite up to 10mm standards. Light, but not terribly light like 40 Smith and Wesson. 40 Smith and Wesson would be a max of 1100, if not 1050. So a little bit hotter. So let's see how this stuff performs in it. Here we go. 10mm Smith and Wesson Ammo Inc. Full metal jackets. Here we go. Ran it just fine. That seems like it's right about the right power right there. So now we have a Smith & Wesson M&P 4-inch. Chook's buddy out here. Thanks, Chook's buddy. All right, he brought it out here, and we have 5 rounds of hard cast loaded in it first, which jammed in Chook's gun, 5 rounds of SIG hollow points, and 5 rounds of CCI Blazer Brass. My last 5 rounds of that CCI Blazer Brass. So we're gonna go ahead and load it up, see if it'll feed. Here we go.
Never done that before.
Wow.
That's probably user error.
I've heard of it happening, but...
Here we go. That target's really swinging. Oh, he made it through a whole mag. Frank.
First time ever.
Yeah, he said it doesn't ever make it through a full mag, so let's shoot some more of it. Okay, another mag. This is the Ammo Inc. 180 grain. Supposed to be going 1190, so it's almost in that 10mm power spec range. Let's see how it does. Here we go. Ran just great. So that's pretty cool. We got 2 M&Ps out here. One jam and one didn't. And it's the one that they told me wouldn't jam, jammed. And the one they told me would jam, didn't jam. All right, they were telling me this particular Smith & Wesson, this 4-inch that Chook's buddy has out here, jams a lot. We haven't had a jam yet, so we're going to do another magazine of Ammo Inc. 180 grain full metal jackets. Here we go. Runs great. This is Mr. Frank, Chook's buddy with his 4-inch. Had it jam a lot, so let's see if it jams on him. We've got...
operator error. It made it.
It made it.
First time.
You've never had a mag make it before, huh?
First time ever I've gotten through a mag without it jamming on the second to last round in the mag.
Interesting. Cool, maybe we broke it in. All right, we got Chook's 4.6-inch barrel back out here. And I've got 5 rounds of hard cast and 5 rounds of, 5 rounds of SIG 180 grain beak round. So it jammed on the hard cast earlier, so let's see if it does it again. And I probably touched it enough where it didn't lock open at the end. I'm still getting used to the gun. But yeah, I like it. Seemed to run that time. Well, that's us shooting the Smith and Wesson M&P 10mm. This one had 2 jams. Chook's buddies didn't have any jams, even though he'd sent it back to the factory twice and said it jammed a lot. Seemed to break in while we were there. So I think on the 4-inch model, I think my hand just rode this too much, and that's why the magazine fell. But I've heard of other people having those issues. So I really, really like this firearm. I want to really love it, but 2 jams, one with 180 grain CCI Blazer brass, which I think Jesse B Outdoors had a issue with that same ammo in his 10mm Smith & Wesson. And then once with the hard cast. So if it's going to jam with the hard cast, that's not good bear protection. And that was only 5 rounds in the magazine. If it jams with only 5 rounds in the magazine, imagine what it's going to do with 15 in the magazine. So I really do like this gun. I want to love this gun. I've always liked the feel of these. You know, the trigger is a little spongy for an M&P. They took out that hinge trigger, and this one's just got a lot of take-up. Reset. It's not too bad. So, not a horrible trigger, but not the best for sure. So guys, tell me what you think. I think it's just not ready for the bear defense wood. It's not up there with the Glock 20 and the Springfield XDM. Those are your 2 best 10mm right now. Smith & Wesson, you can't beta test on your customers. People who buy this are going to carry this for bear protection. They are going to be highly disappointed when all they have shot is 40 Smith & Wesson type loads in a 10mm, and your gun runs them, and then they put 200 grain hard cast in it, and all of a sudden grizzly bear charges and it can't feed. So they're going to be really, really, really disappointed in that. This is a hard pass for me. I want to like it, but I just can't love it. It needs a couple of generations of work. Needs new magazines for sure. I think those feed lips are just too wide for a reliable feeding of 10mm. I think they really are. Mike Robinson was saying that in the comments on the short, and a couple other people too. 2 jams in the 120, 150 rounds I put through it, it's just not good enough for me. I want to see 1 jam maybe every 1,000 rounds, just because I didn't clean it. That's what I want to see. And I don't see that very much with my Glocks at all. Sometimes an underpowered round in the Glock 40 with that heavy slide will do it, but yeah. So, guys, Patreon, MeWe, check out all those things there. Arms directory, make sure you go check us out on the arms directory. Guys, God bless, take care. We will see you at the range.